All right. Okay, so I think that is a good. I think that's good lighting, right? Right. Good lighting. I hope so. I am eating while I talk. Okay, so we're gonna get right to the story time. And as the entitlement says, it says the day that I was given drugs and almost killed myself. I have to put the year. I was a teenager, so I had to be about 16, 16 or 17. My grandmother was in South Carolina. We got family out there. And we had to, I was left in the care of my father. And apparently his girlfriend, right? So, 16 years old, teenager. And I hope this is good lighting. I hope so. Because I ain't turned on the ring light. Because I'm charging my phone. Maybe I should, right? Be right back. Okay. Let me take the phone out. Wait a minute now. Okay, maybe I won't have to take out the phone. Not the charger. Okay. Put that in. All right, so gotta put my specs on. Oh, what's that? Sorry, this wasn't planned, but I want to make sure y'all can see me good. Uh-oh, something happened. Okay, so what was on the other side? Let me try it on the other side. All right, so that's good. Is that good? Is that okay? All right, so it's moving right along. So this was in, no, let me go back to where I stopped at. I was left with my father. My grandmother, my grandmother went downtown, religious purposes, because her sister, which is my aunt, was a bishop over, at that time she was just a pastor. a pastor over the church in New York and the church in South Carolina. Let me connect my headphones because I got a bumpy. So, but I really don't need to. Like, okay. So, moving right along was a so every year they would go to South Carolina to be with the people up there, spend time with them. Anybody that need to be saved, you know, tarry with them, work with them, etc., etc. Where she also wound up building a church. She had a church down there, but for y'all who know about churches, it was a storefront church, so it was removable. Well, you know how down south is. You get a house. It's not like projects per se. So they would go down there, and I normally go with my grandmother. But I think this particular time, my father told my mother, told my grandmother, asked my grandmother, could I stay with him for the summer? And she specifically, I remember that hearing it. That's something that will always stay in my head. I would never forget this summer. And he she told him, now Jesse, make sure you take care of my daughter. I understand it's your daughter, but make sure you take care of her. In other words, don't have her running the street, don't have her in the street, don't take care of her. Because she knew her son was no good. Uh, um, but anyway, this video is not about my father. That's another story time. Okay. So now I'm here with my father, right, and the young lady that he was staying with. They both deceased, so I can say name. Her name was Paulette. That was, I'm trying to think of what part of Brooklyn that was. I'm not sure. I think, well, I can tell you the area, maybe, and y'all probably know if y'all from Brooklyn. It's right under, it's those projects that's right underneath the George, I think it's the George Washington Bridge. That bridge that you got to go over when you go downtown Brooklyn and you got to go through Tillery and go across that bridge. I think that's George Washington Bridge, right? So they lived right, the projects was right underneath it. Excuse me. So, the heck, I had the name too. But anyway, so this particular morning, my particular day, I don't think it was a morning. It was somewhere in the midday. My father sent me to, I feel myself having to go to the bathroom, so let me hurry up with the story. My father sent me to the store, right? 1 second, let me take my blood pressure medicine. Like I keep feeling some here. He sent me to the store to get him some cigarettes. He smoked cools. So I went to the store, he gave me the medicine. I went to the store, right? Now, and I've always been a person that don't really affiliate with people. And not that I consider myself to be too good to affiliate with them. It's just that, the way I was raised alone. So being raised alone, you have this persona of being by yourself, and you may push off type of uh that type of, what's the word, you may act like that, seem like you're acting like you're better than the next person, but that's not it. It's just that you was raised by yourself, and being raised by yourself, you learn how to accommodate not having nobody with you. And so when you go out into the social world, you take that on with you. You be by yourself. You act like it's nobody but you. You act like you don't need nobody, all that stuff, because you raised up by yourself with you and that parent, and whatever was needed for you, that parent provided. In this case, parent, my grandmother, and God provided it. So whatever I need, my grandmother will go to God. God give it to her. I mean, the spiritual stuff, and anything that was natural that I needed, my grandmother provided it, and that was the necessities of life, right? So okay, now, so I said that to say this. So now, where I was at in the project underneath the George Washington Bridge, and I didn't come out. If I did come out, my aunt lived it across on the other side in the Fort Greene projects. So that's the area that I was close by. So when you go past Park Place, it's like a train station, and then you go on over there, you're coming under the bridge in that area. So that's where I lived at. And my aunt lived it in the Fort Greene projects. I forgot that she lived right across the street from Fort Greene Park. Okay, so moving on. So now, that's the only time people will see me, if I'm coming out, going to my aunt's house. My father sent me over there. I'm not sure if they work. I know my father worked, but I don't think Aunt Paulette worked. So I don't even know why I called her Aunt Paulette. I guess because you're not my mother, and you're not married to my dad, so you're not. I ain't gonna call you mom. I call her Aunt Paulette. Isn't that crazy how you grow up with different titles to call people, and they're not even that. They're Some of them is not even nothing to you, and you put an aunt in front of it, or you put a sister in there, or you put a mom in there. So now, went on. He sent me to the store. I come outside. I cross the street. The store is right across the street from the project. So I go out and I go across the street, and there was these guys that was standing on the outside. I saw them before, but I didn't know them. I didn't know them personally, and I didn't know them non-personally because we never talked. So I went as I was going in the store. They say, "Yo, you smoke?" And when I say smoke, that's weed. You smoke, and at that time there was something out that was called hash, right? I hope it's okay for me to say these things. Uh, but I'm not promoting it. This is my story of what happened to me. So, so I don't know whether they was asking me. Well, it's hash is weed. I believe hash is weed. So it's something that you smoke, or you put it in your weed or something like that. Anyway, it's been so long ago. I don't forgot the format of how you smoke that. But anyway, so they asked me to smoke. I was like, nah. They said, oh, come on, we got some good stuff here. And they was just smoking away and giggling, etc., right? Me and my dumb self stopped before going in the store. And my father specifically, and I already know from my grandmother's, you know, a teaching that When I send you to the store, you go to the store, you get what I tell you to get, and you come back home. You don't stop. You don't interact with nobody. You don't talk with nobody. You go, get what I tell you to get, and come back home. So I knew that already. But no, I wanted to stop because I guess I was saying, oh, these guys is paying attention to me because I saw them all the time at the corner store. I think they may have, that type of thing like that to me, but no real deep rapping, as they called it back then. So, being that once they stopped me, I was like, I guess I was feeling like important. Oh, they want to talk to me, but let me stop and hear what they got to say. So, so I went on. It's the only thing I hate about so many chains. It wraps up. So they gave they said to me, "Oh, come on, try this. It's good. It's good. You're gonna feel nice like that, right?" So I took a puff, I think, and they was like, "No, go ahead, take some more. Go ahead, help yourself like that." And me and my dumb self not even catching on. They freely giving this stuff away. You know. You know what? I'm gonna leave that alone right now because it's aggravating me. It's taking away from what I wanted. What actually, I know what it is. It got caught on this Louis Vuitton charm right here. So it was like, go ahead, help yourself. We don't have what we was going to go on. So I took another puff. I feel it, but not paying, not thinking nothing. I'm just thinking it's a regular weed because I think that may have been my first puff because yeah, I never smoked weed before. So never in my life had no weed. So that feeling was new to me. You know, it was new to me. So I wasn't scared yet, but it was new to me. So I was like, oh, okay. So they told me to take another puff. I took another puff. Take a long one. It was like, take a long, deep one. So I was like a dummy. Took it. And then I gave it back to them. And they laughing, etc., etc. So now when I turned to go into the store, everything went into a slow motion type of thing. People was talking to me. I didn't even know what they was saying. I I went and I was like, can I have Cool's? I think my father smoked his shorts. Can I have a pack of Cool shorts, please? But it sounded like I was saying, can I have a pack of Cool short, please? And I'm noticing that something is wrong. And I'm saying to myself, oh, that was kind of slow. I wonder if he understood what I said. And sure enough, he went, got the pack. I gave him the money. I took the pack of cigarettes, had them in my hand. Now I'm coming out the store. Everything is moving a minute. No, that's the wrong word because a minute is fast, right? Everything is moving slow as molasses, slow as a snail. Let me put it that way because everybody know how slow a snail is. Everything is going. So I'm walking, but it seems like I'm just walking so slow, right? So when I comes out the store, I turn and I look at them, and they looking at me, and I said, "All right." They was like, "Yeah, okay, see you," and they cracking up laughing, right? And I'm going and I'm saying to myself, I said, "Wow, I'm moving kind of slow, but it still ain't hit me yet." I go across the street. I'm walking across the street to go back to the building, and when I get my feet, the back part of my feet, the heel part of my feet on the sidewalk, I felt the wind of a car that passed me with speed, and my hair blew up like that. And I said, that's when everything started hitting me. I said, wow. I said, I could have got hit. And see, I'm going to throw this in there. People that may be at a point of overdose, they come within that reality. Even though they may be high, but when it comes to a point where it kind of trigger that not right stage, something ain't right. This ain't right. I need some help. I need to get, because even a person that is in pain and delusional or whatever, they know when they need help. You may be laughing at them saying, when they be saying, help me, and you cracking up laughing, and you may be saying, oh, you ain't nothing but high. But the fact of the matter is that whatever it was that they took, I drank, triggered something in their body system that was not right for them. Whereas somebody else could take it, it won't bother them. But for them, it's not right. So that's where I was. I was like, wait a minute. Something's going on. I could have got hit. Now I'm starting to pray. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Lord, help me. So I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm walking. When I realized that the car almost hit me, but didn't hit me, I stopped, turned around and looked at the guys. The guys were still laughing. I'm not going to say they were laughing at me or whatever, but they was laughing, right? It could have been from, I wasn't laughing. I guess weed or whatever it was that they gave me had a different effect on them than it had on me. So I went on upstairs, going up and slow as a snail. You see what I'm saying? And I went in the house, right? This is when I knew something was up. I went in the house. I went to the back of the house to give my father the cigarettes. I walked in the room. I hand him cigarettes. I see him. I see his arm like this. So I know that he got his arm around Aunt Paulette. But here was the scary part. I didn't see Aunt Paulette. That whatever part of my vision that I was supposed to see or whatever my brain was supposed to calculate it was fried. I'm laughing now, but it wasn't funny then. And that's when I began to panic. I stood there for a while. He was taking the cigarettes and I just stood there and I just kept looking in the position in the direction that she was supposed to be in. But I was forcing my eyes to see her, but I wasn't seeing nobody but my dad. And to be honest, I was barely seeing him. Not that anything was blurry. My vision wasn't blurry. It was just that she was blocked out. And I was in this world of snailness. I wasn't in reality. It was like I was in space somewhere. So I came out. I started walking back and forth. Right? I was like, oh my God. I said, Lord, help me. I said, I'm going back in there because I want to see if Aunt Paula is in that room. I hear her voice. I passed the room because next to their room was my room where I was staying at. Even though she had children, they wasn't there. I was staying in the room whenever I would stay with my dad. And I went in that room, and when I'm walking by, so I did a turn like this and look. And my father looking I know she looking at me too, but I don't see her. So I'm looking. I keep looking. I'm looking. I'm walking, but I'm looking. So I went back in. They started laughing. They probably was laughing at me. I don't know. I came back out the room. I looked again. And maybe that face, maybe some type of expression on the face was being seen. I walked by, went back in the living room part where the kitchen was. And I was like, oh my God, I'm pacing back and forth in the living room. I sit down in the living room. I said, Lord, what's happening to me? What is happening to me? I said, Lord, help me, right? Like that, right? But still, I didn't get I haven't gotten to the intense of whatever it was I smoked. I didn't get there yet. It's coming now. So again, the last time I passed by and I looked, and so I guess that face I had, my father finally said something. He said, Sharon, I said, sir, is you all right? Now, instead of me saying, nah, I'm not okay, I did this, I did that. I'm telling them, yeah, I'm all right. And I throw this out too, children, anybody that, well, I'm not putting it for nobody to watch, but adult teenagers. So I'm presuming that teenagers can get on Zoom, depending on the age. I don't know because I ain't no teenager, and I don't have any teenagers in my house yet that lives with me. I have teenagers. I have grandchildren that's teenagers, but they don't live with me. So I don't know whether they're on YouTube or not. But anyway, I want to say that whatever's happening to you, you get caught up with the wrong smoke, you drink something and it ain't right, you tell your parents, because your parents is going to be the only one, unless you got a true friend, a true real friend, that's like a parent, that's a friend, that's a child, that's a friend, that's like a parent. You're following me? I'm emphasizing like a parent because even though they may be your friend, but they may have them parenting instincts to take care of. So unless you got a friend like that, you make sure you tell your parent. You go somewhere and they give you something and you start acting crazy, not acting crazy, but you start feeling crazy and you want to go home and they take you home, you tell your parent because you don't need to be with them. And I'm not saying that to say that these guys gave me something. Well, apparently it was something in it. I'm the one that took it, but they wasn't my friends. So I should have knew better than to smoke anything, drink anything. And I learned my lesson from that. I go in clubs, I go with my own drink. If I get a drink, I nourish that drink. I hold on to that drink. If I go on the dance floor, my drink going with me. Unless I'm with friends that's gonna watch my drink that I trust. And that was Pearl and her daughter. And it was Pearl's friend. So we was a clique. So we could trust one another. Not to say that something could have went wrong with that, but I'm just saying I learned my lesson after that happened. Anywhere I went, I don't drink for nobody up until this day. I'm very particular. I don't let nobody give me nothing. And I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, and believe that God will protect me from all and everything. But He still gave me common sense. So let's go back to the story. So now, I went on. So when my father asked me, "Is you all right?" And I was like, "Yes, yes." And I went on in the room. And I'm in there saying, "No, I'm not all right. I don't know what's going on with me." I sat there I couldn't even, that was another thing. I couldn't sit still. Because it's like I said, I got ADHD and certain things triggers it. And apparently I have anxiety too. Right? So now I go past the room again. I guess I'm looking again. Now my face is probably looking more panicky. And my father called me again, Sharon, sir, come here. So I go in. And this gave me the opportunity to really see what I didn't saw and couldn't see. And that was on Paulette. He called me inside. He called me inside the room. Come here. So I came in and he said, what's the matter with you? You all right? I was like, yes, sir. And I can hear Paulette laughing. She's not really saying anything much, but she's laughing. And I'm like, yes, I'm okay. It don't seem like it because you keep walking by and you keep looking in here. Is you looking for something? No. All right. Well, get on out of here. Stop looking in our room. This is our business, right? Now, me personally, my child, I would have took that in consideration. If my daughter looked funny, I'm asking her, you all right? Why you look like that? Because your emotions inside comes out on your face. Not with everybody. I know with us, we have a tendency to carry our emotions inside. So what happened? That's why I got high blood pressure today. So what happens? Our emotions take over, and you don't say nothing, but you're feeling, and your feelings come on your face. So if something aggravates you, if you're not feeling well, whatever the case may be, you got a headache, we got a headache, even if you got to go to the bathroom, it shows on our face. Some people can do good. They got to go to the bathroom. They be like, "Oh, I got to go." Really? You ain't even doing the pee dance. I know. I've learned how to hold it. Bump that. Pee dance and holding together. I still got to make some kind of entrance that I got to go to the bathroom. Okay, so moving on. Want to stay focused. I already been talking for 30 minutes. Okay, so now this is when it kicks in. So now I goes in the living room. I sits down. Now all prior to that, I was doing my little semi praying. Lord was going on. Lord was going on. But it didn't trigger yet. All of a sudden I jump up. I go to the window. I open up the window. Now the kind of windows, we live on the 14th floor now. The kind of windows that we have, they push out. No, I think they open out like this. You bring them in like this. It got two handles, and you push it out like that. So I pushed them out like that, right? There was a radiator right there, and then it's the window ledge, right? And then you gotta like kind of like walk out towards the edge of that. So we was like in the cut of the building. Thank God for that cut. Now that I'm thinking about it, thank God for that cut. Because if it was just a ledge, I would have went down. But now let me take you through the steps of what I did. So now I'm standing there. I'm not gonna say I heard any voices because I didn't. Right? This is the enemy. He ain't talked to me, but he just put in me. He possessed my body for a second, and I put my feet up and stood up on top of that radiator. And as I'm standing on top of that radiator, mm, after 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 me standing on top of the radiator, I stepped out on the ledge, right? You got about this much. This is the radiator. This is the radiator. This is the ledge, and you got about this much ledge. So it's not that much. And then everything beyond here to about right here is where well, I got to say it's about this much, where you got to walk over to the edge in order to look down. So you can actually, the way that window was made, you could actually stand out there, smoke your cigarettes, do some drinking, whatever, and look down and see those whatever's going on. I never ever went out that window. Never paid attention to that window. Never knew that there was access to walk out until that day. So now I'm at the edge. I'm right here at that little bitsy witsy edge. I don't know whether I went to step, but I must have went to step out to go walking. And next thing you know, I felt something grab me. Let's say this is the back. This is my backside. This is my back. I felt something grab me like this and jerk me back. And when he jerked me back and pulled me down. And I stepped down. Now I tell this testimony. I don't tell it too much, but now that I'm saying it now, the reality is kicking in. This is testimony that I need to tell. And if I ever do outreach where I go out, I'm going to tell that testimony, right? And I told it one time, I just got to throw this in there. I went to preach at a church, and you only got 5 to 7 minutes. And I can't remember what it was, what the topic was. But I started my message with that testimony. And it did a whole lot for people. People came, even kids came over to me, teenagers came over to me and said, I really enjoyed that. Oh my God, you really touched me. The same thing happened to me. So I need to start telling a testimony. But anyway, now the way that I was pulled back, I want y'all to kind of get this and let y'all see that this was a spiritual battle going on and God won. Now, mind you, let me rewind. Nobody was talking to me to tell me to go jump. I didn't hear no voices, right? Nothing did. I didn't feel nothing just all of a sudden take over me. No. Remember something. When you are a sinner, the enemy already lives in you. He don't possess it. Well, let me correct that. He may not live in you, but he already has control over you. So he's able to do with you what he chooses to do. And when you become influenced with something, whether it's alcohol or drugs, that empowers him to control you. So he didn't have to just talk to me and tell me to go do it, because we wasn't having no battle going on, because I had no control over my mind. I wasn't in my right state of mind. He had my mind. So all he did was jump in me, or one of his imps jumped in me and led me to the end of my life almost. So when I got to the edge, this was a spiritual battle. When I got to that edge where it was just a little bit, apparently I must have was getting ready to step forward. Now, if I had to step forward, then that could have been the end of my life, because I would have kept walking, and maybe I would have stopped running, and maybe I would have jumped. Only God know what I was going to do once I stepped past that sill, that window sill. So God came, grabbed me from the back, and pulled me back down to the floor. And here's the craziest thing, that the power of the pull became gentle as I came down. So I felt the pressure. My back went like that. And then I came back like this. And then it was like somebody carry you. And I began to come down, step down from the radiator, took them steps back down on the radiator. And when that power pull happened, that's when reality stepped in. So who knows? Maybe that's when God knocked the enemy out of me. And I came down, and then I was like, oh my God. I stood there I said, oh my God, look at it. It was like I came out of it. I'm still feeling it, but now I'm at a point where I see I'm in danger now. And I went, oh my God, I'm looking out the window. I went back and closed the window. I said, oh my God. I said, I could have died. And I went running back and forth, running back. Not, I was walking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth from the living room, not to that window. I stayed away from that window. But I was walking back and forth, and then I went back to the back, to the door that leads out to go outside. Came back. I was scared to go back down where my father was, because I didn't want him to stop me no more. So I just kept walking back, walking back and forth. So the bathroom, if I'm correct, I believe the bathroom is past their room, and then there's a little cut where you go this way, and that's the bathroom. And then right across from their room is my room. Not this cross, diagonally cross, right? So I passed them again. I didn't look in their room, because see, now I'm really realizing I ain't even worrying about me not seeing her. Now I see why I didn't see her. And I wasn't concerned about that no more. I was more concerned about God taking this, whatever's in my system, or whatever's controlling me right now, to get me through it. So I went in the bathroom. I fell down on my knees. I put my hands up in the air, and I began to boo-hoo like a baby. And I was crying, and I was like, Lord, if you get me out of this, I will never, ever smoke that again, which I didn't even know what it was. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to call it weed, because I didn't know what it was. And I would tell a story to other people. They would tell me that they laced it with LSD or something. I don't know I don't know the response or the results to LSD, but I always thought LSD make you feel like you spaced out. But I guess that was spaced out. Made you feel like you could fly. I wasn't hallucinating. I wasn't thinking I could fly. I wasn't saying, oh, let me jump so I could fly. No. It was just like I said, it was just where I almost jumped out the window, that type of thing. Right. It just had me feeling like, not that I was gonna die, and it just had me, and I didn't have I want y'all to understand I didn't have this extra strength. It didn't give me extra strength for anything. It didn't really do anything. That's why it was a possession, a possessiveness. That's why I was possessed at the moment. And I guess that was a moment that the devil felt like, oh, I got it now. So let me just take her out because look at me. I am very prosperous in the Lord. I am blessed, highly favored. You see what I'm saying? So he didn't want me to get to this point to where I am because now I can help others by my testimony. And I hope anybody that hear this will take heed and be careful and give your lives to the Lord because God came not because of my prayers, because he doesn't hear the prayers of the sinners, right? But it said, but if you are a worshiper, him will he hear. I wasn't worshiping no God. No, far from worshiping. I was drinking and out there smoking and all that stuff. So he definitely wasn't going to hear my prayer, but it was the prayers of the righteous availeth much, right? So therefore, those prayers, who knows, maybe God had my grandmother all the way in South Carolina, my aunt all the way in South Carolina. God led them to do a prayer for me right then and there, and God came to my aid and snatched me from the hand of the enemy. Ooh, glory be to God. So I I went and prayed and prayed and prayed, asking God to forgive me for being disobedient. Because I was told to go. I was told to always go where they send me to go and come back, not to interact with nobody. And this is the reason why. That was the reason why I was told years ago. I'm about 16 or 17 years old. So years ago, I was told when I first started traveling, at 9 years of age, and was told to go and come back. Don't talk to nobody. Get on the bus, sit down. Don't talk to nobody. Go to Yvette May house and come back. She sent me to the store. Go to the store, Sharon, and come right back. I always kicked out and went to the park and played me some handball. But I never really interact with anybody that was smoking. But it was those guys that I was interested in. I seen them quite often, and they seen me. So being a loner, being a girl raised up by myself, any attention from a guy did a whole lot to me. Made me feel wanted. I'm gonna be honest with you. So these guys that I saw constantly at this store, in front of this store, in front of the buildings, throughout the neighborhood, it looked like every time I turned around, I would be seeing them. And when I saw them at the store and they offered me, I know I wasn't no smoker. And I'll be honest with you, my mind told me not to do it. So that's why I was in that bathroom praying, asking God to forgive me. No, he didn't hear me, but he heard the prayers of the righteous. And he opened up his ears to their prayers. And he came and he rescued me. The song said, I cried and God delivered me. I cried and God delivered me. I cried and God delivered me. He delivered my poor soul. I cried and God delivered me. Lord, I cried and God delivered me. Oh, I cried and God delivered me. He delivered my poor soul. Yeah. I'm old and God delivered me. Lord, I'm old. God delivered me. Yes, I'm old. God delivered me. Deliver my poor soul. Fell on my knees and God delivered me. I fell down on my knees and God delivered me. Fell on my knees and raised my hand. God, deliver me. Deliver my poor soul. Ooh, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. Woo! God delivered me, people. You see, I'm here today. I'm here today to tell the story. And I sang that song, or should I say, I'm trying to see if I sang it first. I may have sang it first, or maybe that the evangelist Odom in my church has sang it. But either she sang it or I sang it. The fact still remain. When that song went through, it hit my soul. It hit my soul. And that's gonna be one of my backup songs. That's gonna be That's that one along with Nobody But You, Lord. When I was in trouble, nobody but you, Lord. Nobody but you. I have to sing so you know what I'm saying. Nobody but you, Lord. Nobody but you. When I was in trouble, you brought me through. Nobody but you, Lord. Nobody but you. So those two songs. There's more, but thinking about it now, how God came to my aid, and I was on my knees praying in that bathroom, crying, croco- crocodile tears. They use that in the phase that it's a lie, but if crocodile is must be big tears. So I was crying crocodile tears, horse tears, whatever type of tears that I could cry that would get to God, His heart and His compassionate heart to help me to come to my aid. And I suffered for maybe about 2 or 3 hours. But after a while, I start feeling it come down. And you know, when I knew it came down, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to end it, coming into my ending. When I knew that that high was coming down, or whatever it was that God was delivering me from, is when I went past the room, my father's room, and I looked inside that room and I saw that lady. When I turned and looked, I saw my father's arm around a body. I saw I saw her face, and they were sleeping. I got to really see their eyes and see the whole image of them. Because before I couldn't see nothing. I just heard her voice and I saw my father, but he was like at a daze. Like a daze was going on, like, oh, like it was going like this. Like double vision. But when I passed that room and saw her, I did a turn right in that little cut and went back in that bathroom and closed that door and cried some more, thanking God for delivering me. And I never told my father. I never told Aunt Paulette what happened. I don't even think I told my grandmother. Because who knows? Maybe if I'd have told her, she probably would have told me. Oh, so that's why the Lord had me pray. And every time she wanted prayer or she was going to do prayer, she would, I guess depending on what type of prayer the Lord was leading her in, she would call up my aunt, which was her sister, and say, all right, I want you to pray along with me. And they would go and pray together. If they didn't do it on the phone, she would hang up the phone and she would get on her knees. And I'm presuming that my aunt, her name was Bishop Mingo, um, Evadna May Mingo, but we called her Bishop Mingo. I called her Gaga. So I'm presuming that whatever Gaga was doing, she stopped and she got on her knees and she was praying in her house, and my grandmother was praying in her house. So that is the story of how I was given drugs and almost killed myself, committed suicide. And God came to my aid. God delivered me. He delivered my poor soul. So with that being said, I just want to throw out this to tell all of you guys that come across this video, be careful who your friends are. Be careful who your friends who aren't your friends, right? Be careful what you put in your system. And if you don't put these type of things in your system, if you don't do these things on a regular basis, don't do it one time. Because the addiction may not be a joke. I'm glad I didn't get, I'm glad the fear of God was in me. So, excuse me, so I couldn't get addicted.
It's 1 o'clock.
Thank you, Mac. Alec. I'm glad the fear of God, I'm glad I got scared that when I started puffing and puffing and puffing, well, I ain't gonna say puffing because I wasn't puffing, I was inhaling. So when I started inhaling and inhaling and inhaling, that once once it got into my system, that it wasn't a good feeling. It wasn't a good feeling. The only thing that was a good feeling to me was when I would drink. That's why I had to get delivered from it. That is a story time for it. That is a story for another story time. So y'all be blessed with that. Let me pray. Father God, in Jesus' name, I thank you for all that you are to me, dear God. Remember those that come across this video, dear God. I ask you to bless them. Allow them, dear God, to see you for who you is. Bring them in before it's too late, dear God. Give them a mind to want to serve you. If they know you, give them a mind to want to know you and serve you, Lord. God, allow me, dear God, to bring your word and to bring examples and to bring different things to this channel so that people will see you, glorify you, want to know you, want to come to you, not me, dear God. Subscribe for you, not for me. Use me for your glory. Lord, bring the sinner man in and strengthen the saint, dear God, the more through my channel. If you do this, I will forever praise you, honor, glorify your name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. God bless you. Bye. Bye.